So I was doing another backtest and my trading view crashed. Pretty amazing. But let's get this started. I'm gonna respin. I had Aussie Chief June 21st, and I was 10 minutes in, and it was like, all right, well, Stack Overflow error, whatever. I'm like, okay, thanks. All right, June 23rd. I'm just gonna try to shuffle it. I've noticed that sometimes this picker wheel can be very biased even without the weighting on. So let's shuffle it. And we'll just get started. I'll do a regular back test. I had something cool that I was testing out, but it wasn't really working anyways. So standard and poor 500. I don't think I've done an S&P 500 yet. Let me see. I think I have it over here. So let's remove drawings in case there are any. And I don't remember what day it was. I think it was. Let me just random the day again. God. I'm gonna watch this back and be like, oh, you're a fool. How you forget already? Okay, June 21st. Okay, so let me turn this off. And then now we will go to June 21st. I'm just gonna, go with the 15-minute. And we'll just zoom out at a high level view and, start looking for trades. June 21st is here. So let's go over here and we'll now scope it out, see what's going on. We dumping. We started consolidating down here, and after like all of this bearish momentum, I'm assuming, I feel like S&P started going up, but I was only looking at US 30, so like I feel like stocks went up in general. I hate that I have that knowledge in my head because I'd like this to be a fair, unbiased backtest, but unfortunately my brain is shifted to bullish and I can't really ignore it. Maybe I should have taken the indices out of the rotation, but unfortunately here we are. So this would be my 15-minute zone of demand, taking this missing price after we just tested off of this missing price here. And of course I'm just gonna mark it. I'm gonna put lines all over the place right now just for fun, and then we got to bust through this top area here for a buy trade. So we want to bounce from here and buy from here, but until we get up to here, I'm basically bullish. I want to sell down into here, so we're gonna do a counter trend movement. You'll take the counter trend movement on the way down, and we'll see what happens. See how it goes. I've got a nice range here for a sell. We can take this area of supply, filling in that missing price and seeing where we can go. We also have this area for a buy that we can't really ignore. I'd probably take these two candles because on the higher time frame, like the 5-minute, I think that would be somewhere to buy from, or maybe the 3-minute. Okay, 3-minute. So we have to look at this and just make sure we don't get surprised by that. I'll even mark it like blue or something so that we understand that it's standing out, and then the 1 minute will stay yellow. So we'll keep going. Bar replay can't be connected. That's awesome. Let's go back. Here's the 1 minute again. Okay, let's get started. Are you excited? I'm excited. So right now I'm bearish on the micro until we get a nice grand gesture showing us that we're going to go bullish. So let's see what we got. I would like to see a pullback up to here. If we do get an engulfing from here, what I've seen a lot is sometimes price will make this megaphone pattern and then drop before it even gets back to the zone of supply. So let's watch out for that if it happens. Otherwise, here we go. Amazing amazing candlestick. That is ginormous, but we are going to work with it anyways. So we'll sell that right down into this 3-minute zone of demand where we need to be careful. We could have waited possibly for a sell. Just understanding this pulled back. Cool, that's awesome. So I did not expect to win my first one. I never win my first one. But we're gonna do a +3 there. We're heading right down into that 15-minute zone. So we'll see what happens there. Removing that other one because it got ran, but we are still bearish, of course, until once again we see a grand gesture that we want to go up, and that would be like a V-shaped move for me that breaks the top of this. We could also just buy from here indiscriminately. I just think that it's a little risky, especially getting in front of this. However, there is about an hour and a half until the open, so anything can really happen here. Let's see. Okay, so just had distribution. We may want to push down one more time, but otherwise this is a quasi and we are looking like a nice push up here. One thing we could do is we could attempt to shift based off of this breaker structure, because we do know that we are in a bullish bias and this is the area that we would most likely bounce from. So my entry maybe for the quasi should have been right here on this right shoulder, this bullish engulfing, but we neglected to take that because our eyes were still seeing bears. So that is okay. What I want to do now is I just want to wait for a nice pullback, maybe back down to here somewhere. We are at 5:33, so still an hour before the open. Now I could take a sell here, but I'm not really feeling this just yet. It's very bullish. It's funny because I like that for a sell, but I feel like that's not going to work. It's showing me a lot of indication that it wants to go down, isn't it? Lots of wicks here, lots of liquidity. I could take a risky sell, but I'm not. I would much rather buy from somewhere down here. So we do have to be aware that this is actually probably a higher time frame area. And we could take a trade from this area here. I would unfortunately like it to come a bit lower. Okay, so that is a bit better. I should have probably hopped up to the higher time frames to see what this was touching on. And if we're about, okay, one more candle and I can do that. So let's see what we got for the 5 minute. Didn't really miss anything on the 5 minute, but maybe on the 15 minute. So on the 15 minute, it really does look like we still want to go down, unfortunately. But we did fill in some of this missing price. We almost got there, and we also, if we took the whole zone here, we probably could have caught some kind of trade. Let me see if I go down to the, yeah, so we could have probably caught something based off of this candle like we were thinking it initially, but it's okay. So this is a nice push up. I want to see what happens once we get back down in here. This is a test of the right shoulder. We had some nice wicks. Let me try to take an entry here. I still think we're going to drop some more, but I'm going to put my stop loss over here under this missing price, and maybe the market will have mercy on my hubris and overconfidence in this. Okay. Considering doing a break-even trade here, let's see. So 1 to 3 was hit, but we what's it called? But we we were not paying attention. We were going for a higher trade. So unfortunately, we may have to break even this if it comes back down. Let's see where 1 to 2 is. Okay, it's a little bit too low. I was actually trying to attack the highs up here, basically. But one thing I might do is I might adjust to just under here because there's some missing price here. While I do think this is gonna go up, I think it might actually wait until the open, and the open is in 5 minutes. And like a lot of times while I'm trading live, I usually want to get out of the trade before the open like starts if it looks unfavorable. But you know, let's just put our take profit here and see what we got going on. We'll break even the trade as well, so that if it does come back down, then we can hit break even. Cool. So that was actually on the open that we hit break even. We probably could have held, but we'll take our 1, 2, 4. I'll just do 4.5. It says 4.6, but that's, I mean, I'm okay with this. So now that we got that entry there, I'm assuming we go to the 15-minute and beyond if it's anything like US 30 this week. Okay, we got a nice push that we're still having. Okay, so we're starting to chop up a bit. What I'd like to do, let me turn on my backtest helper because I do want to see where we can get into a good re-entry here. We don't want to miss too much of this open. So let's go to the 15-minute and see what we're working with. It looks like for sure it's going to keep pushing up. I probably should have checked this and adjusted my stop loss according to the 15-minute. But like I said, I wanted to play it safe and make sure we locked in some of that profit for the day. But scared money don't make money, right? That's what they be saying. Okay, so there's not much going on. It's just going to go up and keep going. Yes, sir. So we just cleared the liquidity, and it looks like we just keep going. We definitely could have held this trade, but let's see where we can get a re-entry at. You know, like, we don't need to keep every single trade, but it would have been nice to have that one in our repertoire, you know, in our portfolio, if you will. So I'm looking for a trade back within pink somewhere. I think that if we get a pullback, that'd be the first place I'd be looking at. And that would be around this 50% area that we usually like to look at. Now it's been 30 minutes since the open-ish, so we could be pulling up still. It's hard to catch a re-entry when the open is so strong. So I'm going to actually redraw my range for where I want to see a pullback to, and then we'll give it some room and see if we can get a trade from possibly this area right at the 50%. I think that'd be a good place to re-enter. I like the missing price here, but this would be like a 5-minute area of demand. If we look at things fractally, I can even back it up and we can take a look at that. Let's look at the 5-minute. So this is a 5-minute area of demand right here. If we go to the 3-minute, you know, it's still looking good. I think anywhere in this under this 50% area is looking pretty good for an entry. So let's keep it going. That's a triple top, sir. When price looks like it's like about to start teetering over like this, I always feel like selling here, and we could take a risky trade, give some profit back. So let's. The only thing I don't like about this is that we haven't really broken any lows, so I'm gonna keep going. We just broke a low now. If we stay with a wick here, we'll be good for a sell. We did not. Open is very strong. I don't know why I'm trying to get in a sell here. So unfortunately, I'm going to keep adjusting this range until we can actually get a significant pullback. Now, if we tightened up the range, we probably could have gotten an entry from that most recent pullback down to here, but I'm still looking for something significant. Let's see how it keeps moving. This is actually a lot of price action to miss, unfortunately. If we held this original trade, it would be around 23%, and that'd be just silly. I didn't want to use the knowledge that price was bullish from like Wednesday or something for this, or this might be Tuesday even, right? What's 21st? 21st Tuesday. I didn't want to use the knowledge that indices were bullish this week to catch me like an insane trade and be like, yeah, that's my back test. No, I don't want to do that. I wanted to actually try to get like a fair one and see how I could fight and scratch to keep milking this trend. But unfortunately, I started playing it too cautious. I definitely could have taken the range from here to here, entered off of this zone of demand with the understanding that price was really strong. You know, we filled in this missing price and went up. But let's just keep going. Let's see if we get a nice pullback for another re-entry. I assume we get one at some point, but I just know that stuff was super bullish. It's slowing down now, which is good. for a sell, but we do want to, we're more likely to get a buy out of this, you know. Let's keep going. I was thinking about being greedy with my ranges, but I feel like just clearing out all these wicks would be pretty good to catch if we can catch it. So you know what I can do? What I can do is I can go up to the 5 minute. I never do this, but I want to try it. I'm going to draw a trend line. And we're going to take the red wick to red wick here. And that's our 5 minute trend line. So basically, once this breaks or starts being attacked, then we know we have an idea of when price wants to dump. It's been kissed a lot. It's been hit a lot. So we just want to get a 1 minute candle red to close under there. The top of the 1 minute candle. Before I started doing supply and demand, I started, I was trading with trend lines a lot, and I would always use the top of a red candle to confirm my trend line to be broken. And that would be the top of a red candle. We still would like a pullback, but I will enter here and see if this trend line is valid. And I'm going to give it a little buffer, because what I've seen just with regular price is that it can clear out these highs and then actually continue. And we're going to just use that original range, and we're going to take that 1 to 3 down to that 50% area from over here. So then we'll try to take a buy from here if we get it. Now I think this is super risky, but let's see what happens. Okay, I'm just building suspense at this point. I could probably break even. So here's something I don't like now. We are in our zone that we wanted to buy from, and well, we're almost in our zone that we wanted to buy from, and we're starting to stall. And that means that there's a chance, because this is super counter trend, we might not get our take profit, but let's see what happens. Okay. See if we can get it. So what I'm going to do is I want to lock in 1 to 2 because this is counter trend. And 1 to 2 would be right about this wick. So if we hit there, then we will not take our 1 to 3. We'll just keep going. Okay, so this is a +2. Okay, and now what we want to do is we want to look for a buy from this area, because that's what we were looking for before. We just cleared the high here, so maybe if we pull back down into here, we can get a good trade going on an engulfing candle. Okay, so this is pretty risky because the candles are kind of weak. So what I want to do is I want to put my stop loss under this wick over here. So if I marked out this wick, then that's where I would want to get out at. Now, if this candle was super strong, that would be nice, like a nice engulfing that covered this wick here. That would be really good. But since this is kind of risky because we're still bottoming out, like if you look at this like a bowl almost, we want price to start to be on this side of the curve before we enter in this situation, because our original idea can still play out. We can still hit that 1 to 3, you know, just a little under that zone, and that's the scary part to me about this. But let's see what we got. Do 1 to 3 on this side. Okay, it looks like that actually might play out. We might actually lose one, but let's see. So it looks like we would have hit our 1 to 3. Instead, we take the 1R from this zone, unfortunately. That's okay. That's pretty cool to use this trend line as a break. I mean, we could probably do it on the top side. Like I said, I rarely use trend lines these days, but maybe it helps. Okay, so the curve is starting to happen, I think. Let's see what happens. Okay, so like I was saying, see, we're starting to break some structures. Let's move this out of the way so we don't get confused and be like, oh yeah, we took a cool trade from there. This is making me want to re-enter a lot, but I'm gonna hold off for a second. It looks pretty good. It's choppy though. We're nearing the end of our session. I do like that. Like I said, once price was doing the curve and we wanted to enter somewhere over here, we should have entered right here. We would have been safe. I like that we've built wicks all the way through here. It means that we need some time to keep going. And what we could do if we just wanted to have some fun and keep using these trend lines is, well, I don't have any red wicks at all, unfortunately. So if I had another red wick, I can make another trend line. But what I can do is mark out the top of this 5-minute candle here. And if we break above that, we are probably good to go. Okay, so there we go. I want to see. I probably still could enter somewhere in here, but I'm being very patient in this area. I don't like how choppy it is, unfortunately. All right, I'm gonna enter on this finally. This is probably a bad idea. In fact, yes, it is a bad idea. Let's wait and see. I'm gonna keep waiting. I'm sorry. I keep promising to enter this trade. I was right from here, but I should have waited for it to hit this this line here. I should have held this 1 to 3. A lot of shoulda, woulda, coulda, but you know, we didn't, so that's it. We'll wait to see what happens at this area of supply. Looks like there we go. Okay, so we're back on this. We can actually use a we have a 5-minute zone of supply here that we're worried about. Even though we're very bullish, we just want to make sure that everything is good. And of course the 1 minute is up there. If we get another bearish engulfing, might be able to make a case for an entry, and I didn't take that one because it was too weak. It's a lot of chop. I might actually have to call this one, but we're not at 11 o'clock yet, so I can't be crapping out now. Okay, now we've actually filled in the full 1 minute, and like we said, we could have entered down here, but we just were too scared. We didn't feel the price action was right, and you know that's okay. If you don't feel it's right, then it ain't right. Missed all this price action that we could have caught. Okay, so we did make a nice quasi over here. Now if we get another rejection from here, I might be inclined to enter. What I don't like though is that this dumped super hard like this, but we did just break structure. What I think we might do is pull back into this missing price. Let me see what it looks like if I sell from here. So we'd pretty much have to clear down to this wick, and that kind of scares me, just because we've built all these orders all the way up. So there's no reason, I mean, unless we're clearing out all these wicks, there's not really much of a reason to keep going down. I'm just gonna wait and sit this out. Yeah, it's okay. Definitely missed my buy trade. Unfortunately for me, I don't see a clean way to re-enter this at this point. But we do have, once again, if we wanted to sell, we got our trend line popping again. If you guys want me to do that again, well, y'all can't respond until after it's posted anyways, so there we go again. Let's see what we got, bringing out the old trend line. All right, now we got our areas of supply up here. Let's see what we got. Maybe we get a double top somewhere in here, start looking for entries for a sell. Counter trends, just a quick 1 to 3. Top of a red candle did not close. There you go, there's the top of a red candle. Well, I could enter on this now. I do want to see some sort of pullback. I think this is kind of aggressive, but let's see what happens. Oh, that was probably it. Let's see, maybe we get one more chance. This is I call this the valley of missed trades, the era of sadness and missed trades. I do like this as a right shoulder. Like if you look at this is a good head and shoulders pattern. We still have to, like, our neckline is right here, but if you look shoulder, head, shoulder, once again though, we're probably gonna have a weird stop loss based on this if we do this. I don't like these long stop losses. There's a lot of shoulda, woulda, coulda on the entries in this session, and once again we have to go back down to our lows here. I'll be quick to break even this if it runs, but I think, yeah, I was gonna say, I think it actually just pops up, and that's one thing I really didn't want to do there. So we're giving back a lot of stuff on mistakes and FOMO. We don't want to do this. This would probably be a better entry if we get an engulfing here, but I think I'm done forcing the trades on this. I just want to see actually what happens here. Because I think when I see this type of price action, I'd probably be out if I missed that re-entry like I did over here. Let's see if it actually drops down that low. Because we're about 11 o'clock here, and I just want to see like what the price action does. Because it's so choppy, it's so hard to read for me. Still getting better at that, but you know, I mean, that happens. It's all part of trading. Yeah, we just consolidated upward and consolidated downward. Now, the interesting thing about that is if you use the red to red trend line and we entered right here where we thought we should have, then you know what? We might have got our 1 to 3. We might have got our 1 to 3. Let's see what we got. Yeah, so our 1 to 3 would have been hit over here. We would have been scared for a second, but ultimately we would have got that trade. So maybe we shouldn't have been scared, or maybe we should have waited for a better pullback, which was up to here. Because basically when these trend lines break and a quasi gets made after a supply zone is tapped. So if you look at it like this, you've got your supply zone that we drew from here on the 5 minute that you see there. That's 1. Then we had our full leg run down, but when we came back up, you know, we were expecting to bounce, right? So when we came back up, this is 2, where we got our tap of that supply zone. And then we made a quasi, which is we got our left shoulder, our head, and our right shoulder, right? So that was here. Oops. So this would be our right shoulder, and what happens a lot of times is when we make a quasi, let's just call this the quasi, the right shoulder, the quasi 3. A lot of times, price will come back and tap that right shoulder, and your entry could have been 4, or my entry could have been 4. Now, instead, I waited for honestly, I could have entered on the break once we got the top of a red candle closing at the bottom under the trend line. But instead, you know what I did? I just entered over here all hastily, and that was just silly. I should not have done that. I should have either entered on the right shoulder, waiting for a pullback, or I should have entered at the break like I did for this other trade. And on this one, I got scared. I probably, because it was counter trend, I probably should have just held for my 1 to 3. So I did make a few mistakes in this session, but overall, I don't think it was too bad. I got 7.5 R. I think that's, I mean, respectable, commendable. But yeah, that's S&P 500, June 21st. You know, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great life if I never see you again. And, you know, hope you have a happy day wherever you are.